Such a pleasure to talk to you because we've heard so much about AI. Let's talk a little about the human brain.
Very true.
Yeah, I think we forget its importance.
True.
And I'm so glad that you're focusing on this. Talk a little about what made you start SIP Abacus. You could have done anything. I mean, why education?
So, just
You're
to
from
give you...
IIT and IIM.
So, I used to work in Bombay for some time. I used to work with a company called Godrej Soaps. I was in Bombay, in Vikhroli,
Right.
which you might be knowing because you were in Bombay for some time. And then I was working in a foreign bank, and life was very comfortable and cushy. And but I was young and restless. So, one of those funny things you do when you're young, you want to do something slightly different. And I just wanted to start something. At that point of time, I always tell it was one of those youthful, uh, risks that you take without realizing what will come up in the future. So it was done with that I would say that intention initially, that just wanted to start something, and I just figured out that this was something that I figured out. It was not some grand vision like some people would like to say. It was something that happened, I would say, fortuitously for me. But once I got into it, I realized that I actually fell in love with what I was doing, what this whole process was about, because this is a wonderful program which almost guarantees a child will improve. And just because of a certain system by which the children follow, you can almost guarantee the child will improve in a certain set of skills, which makes you look like, for an outsider, okay, an average kid came in, wow, he's so smart. And any kid can go through that process and become, let's put it like in inverted commas, smart. And that was very fascinating to me when I was in my early 30s, to see that happening. And that really caught my fascination. And that's been my fascination ever since, that you can actually change any child's life if you follow a certain system. And obviously in later life, child can do phenomenal stuff because of that process that happened. So that's really, in a very short way, what I've told you.
Have you ever met any of your alumni?
So many of them.
And
So
what do
many
they
of them.
say to you?
So many of them. And that keeps me the most excited about what I'm saying. And now that we've been there for 23 years, we have alumni who are there all over the world, all over the place. Just recently, last Sunday, we had an event where we were having a large competition of our kids here in Chennai this year. And about 5,700 children had come. So we had also invited some of the parents of some of our distinguished alumni to come for an award. And it was so nice talking to the parents more than the students and how they've seen the change. No doubt the students are amazing. And I can just tell you one or two students. There's a student who went through our program and he went to the US to do his bachelor's in undergraduation. And you won't believe he's done his triple major in maths, linguistics, and computer science. Even I can't imagine anyone doing one of the three. And this guy's done a triple major, and now he's doing his PhD in neuroscience. And when I was talking to his parents had come, and they're from a small town in Odisha called Cuttack. And they were saying that he was a good guy when he started off. It's not that he was not that smart, but there was a dramatic change once he went through this program. And a lot of what he is doing today is thanks to that 3 years that he spent with our program. And when you meet these students and meet their parents, you feel it's really worth leaving that bank job.
You contributed something.
Absolutely. There's no doubt. Not only me, I mean, everybody in our organization feels so.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons we are always excited about what we do.
So what is so special about the program? What does it do that is different?
See, basically, if you go to school, there are many differences. I would say the big difference broadly, I mean, I don't want to bore people with too much details. Broadly is the school, typically you have 40 kids in a class. And the objective of the school is to finish a certain curriculum which the teacher has been given. Now, the logic is by completing the curriculum, a certain set of skills will develop in the child. Whereas we don't have that as a process. Our process is actually slightly reverse. Our thinking is child must develop a certain set of skills which will allow them to complete the curriculum. You get the difference? So, for example, we have a program called the SIP Abacus program. But to complete the levels, you have to develop a certain set of skills. So it's our job not to complete the level for you, but make you learn the skills first. And So that's where each child may take a slightly different time. Somebody may finish it in 4 months, somebody may take 3.5 months, somebody may take little more than that. But fundamentally our idea is every kid must learn skills, hence they can complete the career. So a very different focus compared to, and obviously if you develop skills, you will use those skills in life to do whatever you want to do. It's like you want to learn music, right?
Yeah.
It's not about a teacher coming and telling a child, this is the music thing and, finish the curriculum. The job of the teacher is, or the coach or guru is to make sure that the student is able to pick up the certain skills in a pace which is required so that they can complete whatever levels that they have to complete in the music program, right? So some students may complete it in 6 months, some may take even 9 months. But till then, it's the job of the teacher to encourage and ensure the child goes through the process. It's kind of very similar that we're trying to do. So it's very different from a school system.
What are these skills usually?
So we use the SIP, the Abacus program. So the key skills that we train children are luckily very close to academics. So let me tell you what the skills are. The first skill that we take through our program, I mean, we have many programs, I'm just telling you the main program, is that the children, I would say, lose their fear of numbers at the very early stage, and they get a very strong foundation in arithmetic by having a strong sense of addition, subtraction, the basic skills, multiplication, division. And the second, equally, or I would say more important skill is they develop tremendous learning skills like concentration, visual memory, ability to recall and retain, listening, self-confidence. That helps them to learn anything much better than normal children. And a combination of these two skills helps them to do much better at school, but also much better at learning anything else. That's why I talked about this kid who is doing. So you just build on it, and you can do anything later on you want to do with that. So that's the amazing. One more very interesting story I want to tell you about alumni kid. Just since it's not only about math, and this student is right now one of the top young artists in Seattle, and she's one of the young professors teaching in University of Washington Art. And she accredits the Abacus program for this. And when I met her when she was in class 12 and she was planning to do art, I asked her, Lalita, how can Abacus help you in art? There's no connection. You tell me, how did it help you? She made a very interesting story. She said, when I was in class 6, I was an average kid at school. I was only coming 20th, 25th in class. And my mom didn't want me to do anything else but study, because that's the normal thinking, right? I joined the program and I quickly picked up very fast. And I was soon coming in the top 3, top 4 in school. The moment I was doing well in school, my mom said, you can pursue other things. Interestingly. So when I came to class 10, I was actually first in school, surprisingly. And so obviously everybody said, you must do maths, you must do physics, science, natural. So she said, okay, fine. She also didn't have the agency to oppose him, so she did that. But since she was so good, she could pursue her art parallelly. And she would finish her work at school quickly so she could spend time on art. So when she came to 12th, she had a choice to do both. She chose to do art, and by then she was so smart, parents obviously couldn't say anything, and she's excelled ever since in life. Wow. Very interesting.
I think that calls for applause. But tell me, I've often felt that the children are really puppets of their parents, sometimes. There are some enlightened
There are.
But how much of pressure is there on these kids? Even the ones who go to Abacus and have that privilege.
So I would say, see, it's like a segment. You have different segments in a population, right? So it's not like everybody, you can't paint everybody with the same note. Parents have their own insecurities about their future with their children. And I can't really blame parents because they do see a challenging world outside. Now, even today, you see two kinds of parents. One kind who are what you're saying, the 1890s parents want children to study. But there's also another kind of parent who has become very laissez-faire about education also. Let the child do what they want. And you can see that segment also coming up. Especially in the metros, one sees that segment also. Let them enjoy life. Let them figure it out, what they want to do.
Make their
own calls, make their own mistakes. You have that segment also coming up in this country. So you have a mix of all parents, and we have to actually balance both with parents. As a parent, you got to balance it. Neither of them is completely right. So neither you should be fully laissez-faire about your kids, because kids don't have the maturity they can't decide which program is good for them at this age. At the same time, if you put too much pressure on kids, they're not really going to enjoy the process of learning. And if you don't enjoy learning, you're not going to continue for long term doing it. So it's a mix of both. And as parents, they have a very important role in knowing where to balance the two. And parents also need education in this process. They're also kind of being first-time learners in this process.
So, you're talking of how many centers do you have now and where do you plan to go next? Are you planning to go to tier 2, tier 3 cities?
Oh, we are already in a huge number in tier 2 cities. You tell me a city in this country, there's a good chance we'll be there. Barshapara. And
these are all on demand. I mean, these cities wanted...
it's not like that. We have a system by which this business is, the way we run this program is, we don't set the centers up ourselves. We look for people, exactly, the franchise. So we look for, and a majority of our franchise are women. Majority, I would say, almost 90%. So we look for women who are, I would say, interested in working with children, obviously have some interest to start a business, and are willing to invest some amount of money behind the whole process. And that's how the business actually works largely. Now, we do have some men also. I'm not saying all of it is women. But broadly, that's the pattern. And so we have, when we started in Chennai way back in 2003, we were obviously very small. But over the years, we've now got more than in India alone 1,070 centers right now across 350 cities. And we are also available in 11 other countries other than India.
Wow.
So it's gone quite expanded. There is still a lot of scope to grow.
Right. Have you taught in any of these centers?
I used to teach at the very early years when we started off in one center where there was some challenge with some teachers not being there, so I was actually teaching them. But now I just don't get the time to do any of that.
You were teaching what, maths?
I was teaching our program. Yeah,
right.
The SIP Abacus program to some children there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It's been so enlightening, and I'm so happy we're talking about human intelligence after a long day of hearing about AI. What do you think of the threat or opportunity of AI?
See, Kaveri, this is something you can't run away from.
Right.
It's a technology which is going to consume all of us, just like laptops or Excel. So the best way forward is for us to learn, embrace it, and figure out how to use it. There's nothing to worry about. There will be threats of any new technology. When Excel came, computers, remember the 80s, people said that people lose their jobs because of computers, and people were all like, a whole lot of dharnas about computers in one trade. You remember that? And then we had the computerization of the Indian railways, and suddenly everything changed. It's going to be the same with AI also. So there is nothing you can... There will be surely problems. There will be some people not get a job, but we have to upskill. We've got to accept it, because if you're not going to do it, the next person is going to do it. So there's no choice. I think we just have to be mentally prepared to accept it, learn from it, and if you're in a position to realize what the harmful effects are, like social media, we know harmful effects, figure that out and take action to reduce the harmful effects of technology.
Thank you so very much. I wish you all the success and many more franchise centers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kaveri.